What's up with it, Collective Clips? I'm lounging, kicking back in a menudo style in a direct fashion, right? It's just a Sunday, man. It's one of those days that you just want to kick back, relax. I ain't got much to do, so I thought if for no other reason, man, I'd spit some stories for you guys. Tell you guys a story about one of my homeboys. I still call him my homeboy because, hey, no matter what, no matter what, he's always gonna be a homie from the hood, from the barrio, right? No matter if we agree, we disagree, and a lot of people have friends like that. We might not agree on everything all the time, but the fact remains, I mean, he's applied that pressure for the barrio. He's always been part of it. His family's part of it. He's ingrained into the fabric of the neighborhood. So, I wanted to talk and tell a couple stories. Um, but one story I wanted to elaborate on was a hostile takeover. Sometimes you have homeboys that they see they have a different mentality and they see things different in the vaudeville. They want to uplift the vaudeville, but in their direction, not for the greater good of the homies and not for the greater of good, for everyone else, but for themselves. Everybody wants to be on top of that mountain. You notice that everybody wants to be that one. They want to be the king of everything. Just like here on YouTube, everybody wants to be the pinnacle of success. They want to be that one looked at as having the biggest platform or having the most viewers or having the most subscribers. And it's just a trip how the world works, man, how people do that all the time. But the shit don't stop. The shit keeps going round and round. That's just the way it is. So anyways, this story is about my homeboy Soldier Boy, right? From Dead End. Now his family's pretty extensive. He has a big family and a lot of his brothers and primos are very well known in the town. Been doing it for a long time. In fact, one of his brothers is one of my closest homeboys that I met when I was young. And he was like someone I aspired to be, I looked up to. He was treacherous in the hood, well known in the vaudeville, had his respect, had major hands, and didn't hesitate to use them on anybody, homies included. He was the walking definition of red on red. You hear the stories about red on red, and I've participated in it. And red on red meaning norteños versus norteños. Now, back in the days, before 1997, it used to be like that. A lot of vaudeville warfare, kind of like in Southern California. Didn't matter if we claimed norte, didn't matter. None of that mattered. All that mattered was your vaudeville primera, number one, and you fought for your hood. So that guy definitely made it a point to put hands and fingertips on every single person outside of the hood that had some type of conflict or had something to say. So he was the walking definition of red on red to me. But I aspired to be like him because he had that gangster personification, right? Everything around him was gangster style. Everything around him, from the way he dressed to the way he talked, the way he acted. All the homies aspired to be like him. I mean, he just was that one. He was that dude, right? And I could tell you so many stories, and I will eventually right here on the Collective Clips about me and that individual. But let's just say that he had his flaws like everyone else. But at the end of the day, man, he righteously put the hood, the vaudeville above anything else, family included. So, anyways, he had quite an extensive family, and the stories about his brother, his younger brother, who tried to mold himself to be like his brother. Yet he aspired to be much more within the hood. Didn't aspire to be more in life, which is what he should have been doing, which is what we all should have been doing, getting our shit together and getting that back for our families and taking care of our children and doing that. He wasn't on that level. He was more on the level of, if he had that name and that reputation within the hood, then everything would fall into place. But of course, we all believe that, but that's not the way it always works out, huh? Because in reality, there's a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of doing time that comes with that. If you want to be that man and be that one known for the hood, then you have to make sacrifices. You can't expect everyone else to make sacrifices around you and you just kick it and it's all good. That ain't the way the world works. So anyways, this guy, man, although we had a friendship, it was always a rocky relationship, ups and downs. And he's the homeboy I told about that, I hit him in the head with the Pepsi can because I wanted to bump a song and he wanted to bump the GUN album. I was tired of it. And so I had to turn him into a fizzle pop. But that's neither here nor there. So we get out of the youth authority, right? I think I got out, or he went into the youth authority years after I did. And I had heard he was incarcerated. I had heard he was in prison doing his thing. And it was what it was. I know his whole family, like I said. So I wasn't surprised he was hanging in there and he was doing his thing. And in fact, I expected it. I expected it coming from someone that's generational, someone who that's all he knows. You know, he was a Norteño through and through. I can't take that from him. He definitely was about the business. But I get out of YA and my homeboy Big Squeaky, rest in peace, gets out, and my boy Beebs gets out, right? And so we're kicking it tough. We had a little squad we called the parole squad. You fuck around with us, we'll violate your ass, right? Pretty solid foundation of homeboys. You know, like it was our clica. Within the gang, you have different groups of homeboys, your taitas that you fuck with, that you hang with. I know that at least that's how it was in my barrio. But I was one of those guys. I was a floater. I was able to kick it with all these different groups, and they identified with what I was pressing, because what I was pressing and pushing was Norteño cause before the barrio. The barrio was fine and dandy. You're always going to be from there, homes, but we were representing something bigger than ourselves. So I got out with that YA mentality and that mentality of the Norteño cause first and foremost. That's just what it was. So, anyways, this guy gets out, and I remember we're throwing a party. I think it was my birthday party to be in fact. It was in June of, wow, I don't even know what year it was, man. It was a long time ago, but it's in June, and we're in the back of my homegirl's house, and there's nothing but a gang of homeboys, homegirls, everyone's partying, having a good time. You know what I mean? I remember they gave me a fucking fucked up ass cake, tasted like shit from fucking Safeway, but we smacked it anyways, and everyone's drinking and just doing their thing, and this guy's throwing a little junta in the corner with some of the younger homeboys. Now, he had heavy influence on the younger crowd. And that's because he had just got out of the youth authority. He had did his thing. We had been hearing he'd putting hands on people. And he was kind of a bigger guy, so everybody was like in awe of him. But I wasn't. You know, to me, he was just a regular homeboy, younger than me. I wasn't hating on him, didn't have nothing bad to say about him. I just wasn't impressed. You know, I had met a lot of Norteños, righteous ones from a lot of different cities that were more impressive than what he was displaying. But I understood he was trying to be that one. So, anyways, my neighborhood is located on the southwest side, you should say, right? If you really look at it on the map, and I'm going to be honest, it is on the south side of Merced. That's just the way it is. People can deny it, but it's facts, right? According to the map. But we've always claimed the west side because anything past the bridge, V Street to G Street, has been the west, right? So we've always had the west side incorporated into our hood. It's just what it is. We're from the west side. Always will be. It's tatted on me. It's gonna stay tatted on me. It's the West Wiggin on mine, right? It's the West. Um, this guy got out and was trying to push a different agenda. Now I don't know anyone from a neighborhood that has ever had a homeboy that tried to start up a clica or try to start his own within the hood, give it the hood's name, yet do his own thing. Well, this was one of them guys, and he started to get at the younger homeboys and try to flip them, trying to turn them out and trying to get them to start saying they were from Southside Merced. Now, traditionally in Merced, we've never claimed South Side. And I'm not talking about the Sud, I'm talking about the South Side of the area, right? We've had the East Side, you have the North Side, of course, and then the West. Everything else is the West Side. But we never said South Side's just something we didn't do. It's just, we never even thought of it. Anyways, he was trying to start a new clique called the South Side Merced. And he was trying to do it as a hostile takeover. He was trying to flip it to where same barrio, different tactics, different ways, and basically go against the grain. Now, this was the first time I ever seen one homeboy like this go against the grain. You know, he started to mean mug homeboys when we'd see him in traffic. He was basically trying to take over of the hood and flip all these youngsters into truly believing that they were something that they weren't. Now, I believe in old school and old school traditions, right? It just is what it is, man. You can't change things. If they ain't broke, don't try to fix them. When you do that, that's what causes conflict and a whole bunch of turmoil, right? But this guy definitely was trying to do that. So let me tell the story how shit didn't work out quite for him. So he gets locked up, and we're hearing homeboys saying, "Oh, he's pushing in there. He's spreading that gospel Billy Graham style, right? He's in there, guard, saying that he's from Southside Merced, and it's getting back to us from people from different cities. You know, one thing about the West Side of Merced is they've always had a lot of respect while incarcerated, whether it be prison, YA, didn't matter. West Side Merced, especially the Water Dead End, Loftboro, gangs like that, have always had their respect, you know, and the respect was hard earned. It's just not given to you, man. In this life, you don't just get it because of who you are, you know, or where you come from, unless you're from Salas, then you automatically get it, right? But everyone has to strive and earn, what they're doing. Um, I'll tell you right now that, when you're thinking about starting a gang in this day and age, it's too late. What's established is established, man. And it's only going to cause a wreck. It's only going to cause your homeboys feeling some way about you and things happening to you that you don't quite want to happen. It's too late for all that, man. It just is what it is. And it's a time and era where you have to start thinking about your family and what you got to do as a man rather than trying to start up a gang just to show some leadership skills, man. Go be a leader at work. Go be a leader in the community. Go be a true leader. Stop trying to manipulate and convince people you're something you're not or something you may be, but that's only going to get them in a wreck and cause you a wreck. So, anyways, this guy gets locked up, soldier, right? And he's pushing that issue, and we're hearing it. We're not liking it. None of us are liking it. We're not feeling it. We shut that down on the streets. We already fucking killed that fire, right? We threw Wawa all over that. That ain't never going to happen. Um, but the word is getting back to us. So, it's DP time, right? My body didn't really do DPs. So we didn't label it DP. It's basically we see you, we're going to smash your ass time. Not kick you up out the hood. He didn't have funny charges. He wasn't out there telling on people. He wasn't doing all that stuff. But what he definitely was doing was manipulating the youngsters and manipulating the people. He was poisoning the gente, the raza, right? Not against the norte, but against our barrio. And we weren't going for that. So anyways, he's in traffic. And about this time we hear he gets out. Nobody likes him, right? Everybody's not turned their back on him, but basically don't want him around because they already know he's got something coming. And a couple of the homeboys catch him in traffic, right? And they caught him at a Walmart. So we have one Walmart in Merced on the north side, and everyone has to go there. And I remember when we were funky with the north side, it was what it was. Take your chances. I said, you go over there and you're going to run into someone. Something's going to pop, right? So I guess he gets ran into by a couple of homies, and they try to run up on him, and he puts hands on him. Like I said, this guy wasn't no slouch. He wasn't no punk, man. He had his little hands. He was a big boy. So he puts hands on him and tells him, this is Southside Merced on mine. It is what it is. I'm going to stay pushing this. And if you don't like it, get off where you're mad at. So we did. We got off where we were mad at. Let's just say that he ended up at a house party that he should have never went to, right? And regrets ever going to, I'm sure. But it was something that had to be done. I sit back and I reflect on these stories about what happened to him. And of course, he got right, man. Later on, he got the West Side tatted on him and all that was for naught, right? But he tried. You can't fault a man for having some, for trying, but it just didn't work out quite well for him. So when I see a lot of these people starting gangs or starting cliques or trying to do this, it might work out, in the short run for you, but in the long run, it usually doesn't. It usually doesn't. I start thinking about a lot of these gangs that are on the other side, these dropout gangs. Guys that fall off from the group or organization or whatever they're from, and then they start up something new or they join something new, and I've never understood it. And the reason I didn't understand it is I got nothing bad to say about the guys. I know that some of these guys are just disgruntled with the gente and didn't feel like them getting whacked or removed or falling off, was justified. So they enter or join up with something new. But how can you do that as a man? You're slide backwards. As a man, you're always supposed to strive, and forever forward has always been the same, no matter what group you're from. You don't look in the past, you go to the future. You strive for a betterment of the people, for positivity and, just to make a better man out of yourself. But when you slide backwards, when you join things or start other gangs, because you still want to be that one, you got to hold true to that. You can't turn it off and turn it on day in and day out. That's not the way it works. But I've always tripped and I've always wondered, and I got nothing bad to say about these these gangs, whatever you call them, PC gangs or protected custody gangs or SNY gangs or whatever. Whoever's part of that, to each man their own. I have nothing derogatory to say about them other than, how could you look yourself in the mirror and understand and know that, you were once part of something that meant something, and now you're part of something that means something totally different, but will never have true meaning or purpose, because you can't be a part of something if you're already in bad standing somewhere else. There's always, you're 50-50, you're half and half. You got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You can't say, oh, I'm done playing for, this ain't the NFL, homie. You don't fucking go to the Raiders to the Niners unless you're Garoppolo, vice versa, right? You don't do that. You don't get paid to do that, right? This ain't a sport. This is for reals, and this is real life. You can't transform gangs or groups. People do, and they've gotten away with it. But it's just not a good look, and I've never understood it. Anyways, Soldier Boy ultimately he ended up getting with the program after he got drugged through the dirt a few times. But that's what it is. When you want to be that man, you're gonna have to go through some man things. Anyways, with that being said, I just wanted to tell you guys that little story and see if you could identify with it. Have you ever had a homeboy leave a comment that tried to switch up and do his own thing, or someone that tried to invade? We've had people, and I'm gonna tell the story tomorrow about people that come from other cities and try to establish and set up shop, and how that works out for them. Some people are able to do it, most not. Anyways, with that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose, get everything you want coming to you. Remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the struggle to strive and the strive to struggle. Thumbs up or down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears this crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle for what I truly believe in, and that's giving you guys the best entertainment I can here on YouTube. You already know what it is. The gun. Bang, bang.